Jazz on the hi-fi.
Yeah, threw my hat into the ring. I've done all the dumb things. Well, I thought that I just had to sing. I've done all the dumb things.
Good morning. Right, you joined me on a very short run to B&Q, a hardware store in base of international people. I'm going out there for a very domestic reason, but I'm also going out there to try mic position number 3. So I had my helmet apart this morning, not literally unglued and screwed and all those things, but I had the microphone out of the helmet, and I was just looking for different positions where I could locate my my microphone. That A was comfortable, and B was in a good position that it could pick up some sound. So I think traditionally people have been putting them in their cheek pad, or right close to their mouth. I've seen some guys put it way up past their ear. So I discovered that I can run the cable for the microphone. Oh, it is windy. I can run the cable for the microphone over the back of my head, actually over the top of my head, through one of the 2 ventilation shafts, which are carved into the polystyrene moulding of the helmet. So I've been able to take the cable from an entry point which is right by my drift, and the reason I've got the entry point there is if I want to at some point record to the camera itself, I can do that without having a major piece of cable flopping around outside. I've taken it from that entry point, and I followed the curvature of a lot of the linings and things inside the helmet to a rear point in the helmet. I've then had to poke a wee hole in the lining, so that is the only probably damage I've done to the helmet, but it is the material lining, not the plastic or the polystyrene. So I've poked a small hole, cable size, 1.5 mm or whatever it is, in the lining. That's given me access to the inside of the lining, and then I've been able to lay the cable into this groove, which is actually almost perfect to the size of the cable, which means that when the lining is pressed into the foam, the cable sits beyond the material lining, but yet runs right over the top of my head, so it's actually reasonably comfortable. I've got all the slack and stuff lying up in there as well, and I put the helmet on and I just don't notice the cable there, which is not the case when I've got a lot of the slack and the cable shoved in behind the cheek pad. I did notice, more so when I was putting the helmet on and off, I did notice the cable was there, whereas where I've got it now, it's just like putting a standard helmet on. So that was a touch. However, to make this work, I now have the microphone essentially above my eyebrows, forward of my mouth, above my nose, and I think that's a key, above my nose, so you don't get all this snorting and huffing and puffing that you hear in some guys' recordings. Yeah, so it's above my eyebrow line. These are roundabouts in this country, unfortunately. And there is a flat panel just in the opening of the helmet, which the microphone is now lying in, and what's really holding it in there is just this soft inner lining. So it sits in there. It's not in my eye line. There is a bump. If you take the helmet off and look into the gap, there is a bump, and I thought that that would be a noticeable thing, but actually, because it's above my eyebrows, and it's black, I don't really see it. I mean, if I squint my eyes and look in the general direction of the microphone, I can make it out, but just in normal vision, it just doesn't appear, and it doesn't impede any of my vision. So that's all good. So that this test is really about is that position, because it is pretty much in the opening now, is that position any good for sound? I'm hoping it is. Hoping it does two things. I'm looking for when the visor is cracked a bit, because as you know, I've mentioned before, this helmet, the ventilation in it is a little bit wanting, and so let's down here. Yeah, so this helmet is a little bit wanting. With regards to ventilation. So I tend to have the helmet cracked, like even one click. Well, it's one click on a shoe, I don't know what it is on anything else, but certainly my helmet has about 10 clicks. And so the first one, which is barely open, is sort of one of the three riding positions my helmet is in constantly, including being on the motorway. As a result, a fair bit of wind noise comes in sometimes. But what I'm hoping is, even on one click, the microphone is actually still positioned behind the visor at that point, because the visor is mainly down. And just get over here. And even though there will be air travelling through there, it shouldn't travel actually directly over the microphone. We've also got a windsock on the microphone, just as extra padding, hopefully extra sound suppression. I mean, this isn't the quietest of helmets, really on long rides. Earplugs are probably recommended with this helmet. I don't tend to wear them, because they haven't found really comfortable earplugs that I can wear for a long period of time without my ears getting hot and sweaty and uncomfortable. And if I was going to wear earplugs, I tend to wear music buds. So I've got a pair of Bose earplugs which have the soft rubber inners, have those on without, the sound having to be warp 10 or anything like that, so I'm not damaging my hearing. Yeah, so I'd tend to wear something like that rather than earbuds, but I mean that all that sort of waffle is getting back to the point that this helmet isn't the quietest of helmets. And that is a consideration that I'm looking into when I'm looking for a new helmet. Is audio, not just for this type of thing, but where I'm talking, but just general comfort of riding in general. That is one of the things that annoys me about riding on the motorway, is just squeeze in amongst all this. Yeah, is the fact that it is literally like you've placed your head inside a hairdryer. Just got this constant white noise, which is fucking annoying. Back to what we're doing here, though, is having a bit of a test of this. Get over, you prick. Going through all these idiots. Oh, the other thing I did this morning, point down at my hands there, is I've modified some guards. These are actually off a Suzuki, these hand guards. And again, I saw, yeah, cheeky little fuck, get on you. Yeah, these hand guards are off a Suzuki, and I saw a guy on YouTube. You're going to come over into my lane. Yes. You're not fucking looking? Don't care? Yeah, so I go and modify them on YouTube. And as you do with lots of YouTube, I stole that idea and I've done it for myself. Maps on tape. I want to go over in there. It doesn't look like, but it is early for the shops. This is a Sunday, by the way, so I'm probably pushing my luck coming down here this early. Yeah, so I saw a guy modify them. I've taken the idea. I've had to put some new bar ends on. I thought that I'd have to do much more of a modification than I've needed to. The bar ends are in pieces, and I didn't use all the bits that came because I found that the inner part of the bar ends fit the guards. So I've really just had to drill a few holes in the other end where it mounts on, and they are genius. They really are. Okay, that's enough of that waffle. Shopping. Man shopping.